Hey.
Hey Victor, how you doing? And we should be good to go here in just a moment. All right, we are set. Well, good morning, everyone, online coach creator. Happy Monday to you all. I hope everybody had an awesome, restful weekend. We're joined today by our special guest, Mr. Victor Reynolds. And I asked Victor to come and share with us today because his business is centered around coaching people through the mindset shifts that are necessary to finally make that first sale online, and obviously then grow and expand from there. But I thought, how relevant is that for us here in the online coach creator? A lot of us are either just getting launched into the online space, or perhaps you've made maybe one sale or two online here or there, but you're looking to really level up your game, increase your lead flow, increase your sales, and move towards, of course, that ultimate goal, which is a full-time online coaching business, so that you can enjoy that freedom lifestyle that we're all after. So Victor, please, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and maybe just how you got started in this space as well.
Yeah, no problem. So hi, everybody. I'm Coach Victor Reynolds. Good to meet everybody. So I've been coaching basketball for 15, 20 years, close to that amount of time. Been a player since I was 7, played up to the semi-professional level. So obviously I learned a couple of tricks of the trade to, not just for training, but the mindset you need to succeed. And I've always noticed that there's certain things that I would do that other players who may have more physical talent, but they didn't have as much success as I would. Or when I actually stopped playing professional basketball and I was really going into my career in software development in Silicon Valley, same issue, right? Certain people who had a lot of natural talent, but they weren't able to capitalize on it. It's just the way that they were thinking about things. And it wasn't until I got into entrepreneurship, firstly, it was in land investing, that I realized when I was taking the course to learn how to sell parcels of land, that I would take that same material that everybody else had access to, and I was able to make more money than they would. I was getting my first sale before anybody else. I was doing all these things first. And it wasn't because I had some natural talent. It was because I applied those same principles of success and winning to land investing and entrepreneurship. And I've noticed that because of those experiences, I had a lot to give, a lot to teach people. And I find it a lot more fulfilling to help people win their own championship, so to speak.
Nice. That's awesome. So let's expand on that a little bit, because I mean, this is super relevant. Like, for the coach who feels like I've got all the same information as everybody else, but something is just not clicking. Like expand that out for us a little bit more. Like what's all involved in that slight edge in what you just said? Like, you took the same information and you were able to leverage it much more than everybody else. What was that process?
Well, it all starts with your inner belief and how you view yourself. Most people don't realize how, basically, because of the society that we live in, the peers we surround ourselves with, and just the overall zeitgeist that we're in, we kind of see ourselves as more or less a faceless cog in the machine. And we kind of just like decide that, you know what, as long as we get to a certain level, about here or so, that we're going to be okay, right? We just want to make enough money to pay the bills and, not be hungry, be in the street, maybe have a little for entertainment from time to time. But that's because we don't see our true potential of what we can really live up to. And once you start to see that you deserve more success and that success will help others get success, you will start to see how you can basically elevate your game. So when things get difficult or you're struggling with a concept, you don't just throw your hands in the air like, it's too hard, I give up. Or I'm busy, I'll do this later. You don't do that. You start to like, no, I'm gonna push through this and I'm going to figure out a way, or I'm going to seek the advice of a mentor or some kind of person that can help me out so I can figure this out, because I deserve to succeed in this area. And once you get that inner belief that you deserve it and that you can see yourself as being more than who you are in your current present, everything starts to just snowball downhill in the best ways.
Nice. I wrote down here, we don't always realize how much self-belief influences our results. And I think most folks, I mean, I used to be this way too. Most folks will be quick to dismiss that mindset edge as just like, I don't really need that. I just need more of a skill or more of a this or more of a whatever.
Mhm.
But starting with this foundation very often is that turning point for coaches who are either trying to break into the online space or who are just like struggling to make it work full time. So in your experience coaching your clients, what would you say is that most common limiting belief, or when if somebody like is pushing their self-belief aside or they have trouble embracing it, like what is that archetype, it so to speak, that you see most often that's getting in people's way?
Well, they will often express it as they can't do it. Sometimes they will say,
Mm,
I don't have the time, or, this isn't,
mm,
money's not that important, or some other lie to tell themselves. But it comes down to fear. And it's the
yeah.
fear that all the naysayers in their lives, including their own stuff in their own head, is correct, that they can't do it. And they don't realize that it's not like some innate talent or ability. It's like any other skill. Like, they don't think about the things that they're good at, and they don't realize that they weren't just good at something right away. Sure, you may have a natural talent that may give you a slight advantage over like the next person who tried to learn the same skill or whatever it is, but they have to practice at it. They have to keep going and learn different techniques and master the basics and the fundamentals. And eventually, next thing you know, because they enjoyed the process, they got good at a certain skill. When it comes to a lot of my clients, they don't think that it applies also in business. Even if they
Mhm.
are trying to make money doing something they love, there are still fundamental business things that they have to get good at for them to actually do the things that they want to do.
Nice. Okay. And I think part of this conversation too is about the simplicity of what you're saying. And I think that's what prompts people to sort of dismiss it at first, just kind of go like, they go, oh, I know that. Or I don't know about you, but I've had clients tell me like, oh, I already, I'm good on mindset. Like I sorted it out, as if it's something that like you do it once and then it's fine, right? That'd be like saying, oh, I did a workout last year. Like I'm in shape now. Like I don't need to I don't need to keep exercising. So now I wanted to also emphasize a little bit about your book. So I know that you wrote a book called Get Off the Bench, right? Yeah, there it is.
There
Nice.
it is.
Off the bench. So, I mean, obviously this is incredibly valuable insights and information for folks. So maybe if you could just kind of give us an idea of, the big picture of that book, like what was the idea that you were trying to capture and educate people on by writing that book?
Well, when I was doing some affiliate marketing only, actually, I was never just only, but a lot of problems that people have, like, well, hey, this sounds great, but I don't have the money for it, and this and that, and I'm about to lose my home, and all these other sob stories that may or may not have been true. I don't really know. But I was like, you know what? If I can help people understand how to make a little money online just to get started, even if it's not like the big money, but enough to finance a course, and it'll be okay. But then as I started to write, I understood that, you know what? It doesn't matter what I tell them, because they're going to find another excuse why not they can't do this.
Mm,
So I took my own experiences with land investing, my failures as an affiliate marketer, my success as a high ticket closer and everything like that. And I put all the mindset lessons that I've learned along the way. And I realized some of the things or a lot of things that I was doing for sports, and I brought to my entrepreneurship, and things that others were teaching me. So I kind of grew on that foundation, were things that not a lot of people were getting. So the book is the secret success playbook to maximizing your internet business from the coach you've always needed. And the secret isn't something that I had to go to some mountain and talk to a Sherpa about. It was stuff that's all around us, but sometimes we're not always able to process how to apply that information.
yeah.
And I start with just, hey, this is how I started. Look, your mind is playing tricks on you. You have all these negative beliefs about yourself. You have a lot of negative beliefs about money, about people with money. Let's first eradicate those so we can start from a clean slate. Now we can start to build the habits and the things that you need to be successful in anything you do. But we'll use examples more towards either sports, which is what I talk about in the book, or entrepreneurship, especially online businesses. And then it's like the exact things you need to do no matter what business that you're in, and what things that you need to study, and then how to study them. And then at the end of it, you should be ready to really dive like headfirst into your business and start the actual journey to make, meaningful change in your life and in your business.
I love that. So it sounds like you started with, Shia says the X factor that holds us back, mindset. Yeah, right on. I love that. It sounds like you started writing your book based on like specific tactics, and then you realized actually there's like bigger principles at play here. And I think a lot of us miss that. Like when you take a principled approach to business building, then you realize like there's these core foundations that really build up the backbone of what becomes your online business. And I was taking notes here. I wrote down eradicating your negative beliefs around money. I was hoping you could expand on that one a little bit. And again, I'll ask you, like, what are the common ones that you come across? Because I know this is an issue for all entrepreneurs at some stage in the journey, perhaps like over the course of years or even decades. I know it's been an issue for me in the past, and I'm always kind of like monitoring it in the background just to like check myself. But what are the common negative beliefs around money that you encounter, especially for your clientele?
Well, first off, it's like they don't think money is good. Like we already know the mangled biblical quote, money is the root of all. Everybody in the chat, fill in the blank.
Right.
Right. We know that one. And money doesn't grow on. Everybody fill in the blank. All these things, that money is scarce, it's not good for you, it corrupts you, it changes you, all these things. These are all lies. I wrote in the book that money, and I know these personally because obviously I used to believe them. That's why they're easy just for me to just roll off the tongue. But I wrote in the book that money doesn't change anybody. It just kind of amplifies who you are. So I have an example in the book. Like if you gave Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Jesus Christ, you gave them large sums of money, would they all of a sudden become evil jerks? Probably not. But your cousin or your Uncle Bob, who all of a sudden came to a windfall of money, all of a sudden he's a big jerk. No, he's always been a jerk. He just didn't have the money to make it like known and make it easy to see. So it just amplifies who you are inside. And when you start to realize how neutral money is or how good it can be, then you can start to make change and feel it's okay to strive after larger and larger sums of money. Because look, let's be real. You can't give charity with love. You need money. You can't donate to build an orphanage or a church, or you fill in the blank of what you need with just good intentions and prayer. You need money. You need cash, right? And until we start to wrap our heads around the good that money can do, and serving a greater and greater numbers of people is going to help you bring in that money, you're going to always be fighting yourself, because nobody wants to become something they dislike. If you think money's going to make you bad and evil, well, your subconscious is going to trip you up every step of the way. So every time you start to make a breakthrough, something is going to happen. Some people call it your lower self. In my book, I call it the bench warmer inside of all of us, as opposed to the all-star or the starter.
The inner bench warmer. I love
the inner bench warmer, man, because there's two types. There's a type that's like, oh, I'm good here. I'm just glad I made the team. I don't want to make any waves. And the other type that likes to blame, point fingers, talk about coaches hating on me because he ain't let me play. I did well that one practice. Why didn't he let me play? But the point is, that person inside of all of us will make sure that you trip up. So when you're on your verge of that breakthrough, all of a sudden you catch a cold, or some life event happens, or you start to fumble on your execution process or whatever it is. And now the breakthrough you're about to have, that inner bench warmer stopped you. And it all starts with how you think about money, because again, you don't want to become what you hate. And if you hate money, or you hate those with money, you're going to do everything you can to not become that person.
Yeah, that's so important. Like your subconscious mind will not allow you to become the thing or the person that you deep down that you despise, right? Mm-hmm. And I love the inner bench warmer metaphor, because it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're on a team and you go, well, I made the team, I'm here, that's fine. I don't actually need to go out and play in the game. I mean, how many of us have some version of that happening? Like, oh, I launched my business. Like, it's okay. I got a client. Like, I'm fine. No, like, you didn't create a business so that you could barely get by. I think all of us somewhere deep down were like, I started a business because I knew inherently, like, yeah, I'm going to have to work harder at first, but then ultimately the payoff long term is I'm thriving, I'm helping tons of people, I'm making an impact, I'm making a great income for myself and for my family. I'm not struggling anymore. Like, that's what we really want. So why do we stop and go, well, I made the team, so it's fine now?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things, because there's everybody who's made the team on merit for the most part.
Yeah.
And even though you may not be the starter or a reliable backup, you have the ability to put in extra work in, after practices, before practices, on the weekends or whatever, to move up the depth chart. And a lot of us don't. And I've been there. I'm speaking from experience here. You just get so caught up in just being there, like not making waves and, not trying to, stand out too much. And now what you're really doing is robbing your team, and then for entrepreneurs, your potential clients, the people who need you the most, of your brilliance and your greatness. You are there for a reason. How dare you try to hide that from people? People need you for something, and you want to, because of your own ego, which is really what it comes down to, your own ego, your own pride wants to hide that gift from the world or your team or whoever it is. And that's one of the most selfish things you can do, all because you're worried about what others may perceive of you because you're trying hard or you're not good at something yet or as good as you want to be. It's all crap. And again, it comes down to what we think about ourselves. And once we eradicate that, everything else starts to fall into place. I mean, it still takes work, of course, but now you're able to put in the work without tripping yourself up.
Yeah, and I love that. I love ego wants to hide your gifts, right? And I think a lot of times we think that, ego and pride wants us to hide. Yeah, Shaya's making some comments here. We're going to get back to you, Shaya, here on your other comment here in just a second. But we often think that, like, playing small is humility, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to be humble and play small. No, like, playing small, that doesn't share your gifts with the world. If you're actually humble enough to share your gift with the world, you'll play as big as you possibly can. And in fact, it's ego that compels us to play small, because we're like locked in our own narrow perspective of the world. So I wanted to get into a comment here. Shaya says, I'm still saying I get lucky when my client hits 6 figures. Sometimes it's less scary to sit on the bench. That's awesome. Like, no, you're not getting lucky. Like, you are serving your clients and you're getting them a very specific result. That's your skill as the coach. That's your client's willingness to also play at a higher level. And everything that you've done to create that result for your client, like, that's very intentional. It took work, it took effort, it took years of preparation and experience. So I think that's a really great, reminder for all of us. Like, we often think that when the good stuff happens, we go, oh, well, I just got lucky that time, or, oh, it wasn't because of anything that I did. But no, if you're experiencing an awesome result or a not so awesome result, then it is a direct outcome from what you have done action-wise to put those things into play. Thanks for sharing, Chaya.
Mm-hmm.
So what else, Victor, what else from the book do we need to know? I'm sure there's going to be, she already said that Shaya wants to be on your book list. So we'll make sure she gets a link to get a copy of that here after the video. But what else do people know? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people listening either live or after the fact, and they're going to want to pick up a copy of your book.
A big thing with me is building confidence, right? And no matter what, you have to have the confidence that you can do this, whatever this is. And for me, it started off with what I found is easiest is for me is working out, right? Because it's very easy to see, hey, as I'm lifting a weight, maybe I was only able to lift 10 pounds. After a week or two, oh my good, I can do 15. Look at that. It's very easy to see. It's very visceral. You can feel it. You can see it. the most way we learn is usually through traumatic experiences. And usually they're not always great, but through a traumatic experience, it changes how we perceive the world and ourselves. So I don't want to make people go through traumatic experiences just so to believe they can do something great. So that's why I like working out. But there's always ways that you can see the improvement that you're making, and you can use that to springboard yourself into other areas of your life. Like with my coach, the kids I coach, I have my own AAU basketball program. So ages 3rd grade through high school. And doesn't matter what age I coach, but I always try to relate the things that we learn on the court to things they can take off the court. Not just being a better person, but like, look, the effort you put in to learn this move or to learn this this principle of the game. If you do that same thing in a classroom, I guarantee you'll start acing all of your tests. If you approach your schooling the way you approach the sport, I promise you, you will be a straight A student. There's no doubt in my mind, because the principles of success are universal. They're consistent. It's like trying to ignore the law of gravity. You can assume it won't work just because you're jumping from a certain height, but yeah, let's see how that works out. So again, a big part of what I write about is the things to do to build confidence, because you can easily just relay that into other things. And like, look, if I was able to conquer this, there's no way in hell I'm gonna let this little thing conquer me. I'm able to deadlift 250 pounds. I'm not gonna let trying to put a landing page together stop me from achieving my dream or reaching the people that truly need my help. So it's very easy to take what you've done, any success, for me, again, working out, but for you, it may be, I don't know, playing a video game, macrame. I don't know what kids like nowadays, Pokemon, whatever. And then like, if I can do this, there's no reason why I can't do that. If I can learn this skill, there's no reason why I can't learn that skill.
That's great. And that's super applicable for someone launching a coaching business too, because it's like, you don't have to be able to do all the fancy stuff right at the beginning. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is all the things that you already know how to do. So start applying those simple things. And it could be as simple as, hey, I know how to use Facebook. I know how to send a friend request. Mm-hmm. I know how to send someone a messenger message that says, hi, awesome to meet you. And then strike up a conversation. Like, that's how I got started. It was literally like, I was like, I don't know how to build a funnel or a website or any of this stuff yet, but I do know how to find someone in a group and just chat with them and then get on a Zoom call with them and enroll them from there. And it was that willingness to do the things that I already knew how to do that actually allowed me the space in my business and life to learn all the fancy extra stuff.
You know what? I want to piggyback off that for a second, because it's funny. I was talking to one of my best friends about this. Don't worry, it's all going to make sense.
All right.
But we're talking about, I'm married. He has a long-term girlfriend, and we have attractive wives and her girlfriends or whatever. But then, as men, sometimes your eyes wander, right? For better or for worse. And then we're like, why do we do that? Like, we find our spouses and our mates very attractive, but it's always something about the other or the unknown. And then we're like, yeah, it's just basically anything that's normal to you, that's ordinary to you, becomes less important in a sense. And we do that with our talents all the time. Ooh, so the things that you may be good at now, whether you think it's a big deal or not, somebody else does not have that skill or that ability, and they would love to learn that from you. And so what we have to do is, especially as coaches, is to make sure that we don't diminish our own light just because we're used to it. It's very common. We always think our stuff is ordinary and anybody can do it, but that's not true. And your example of using what you know on Facebook, starting conversations, using the basic tools of adding friends, sending messages, etc., that is important stuff. And some people, just because they may know how to actually push the button to send a message, for example, but knowing what to say, how to be genuine, how to make sure you make connection and build rapport. These are things that may be simple and easy to you or to the people that are listening right now, but they can use that right now to get started. And just because it's your ordinary superhuman ability, so to speak, doesn't mean that it's not valuable, doesn't mean that you can't use it now, and doesn't mean that it can't help you springboard to learn the other things that you think you need.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the coaching industry, right? Like, it's all predicated on people helping people. Every coach that I've talked to anyway, that's the reason they want to be a coach of some kind, is like, they're a coach at heart. Like, I just want to help people. I want to serve. I want to be a part of that transformational process. Like they have this amazing motivation. And it's like, yes, that's all that you really need in terms of like serve people, enroll people, serve more people. Yes, all the fun, fancy extra stuff is awesome. Like that can come later. But in terms of getting started, as long as you have the skill that you already have, and as long as you know, I can help someone with XYZ, whatever that process is, fitness coaching, health coaching, business coaching, mindset coaching, whatever it is, if you know you have a service that can genuinely serve someone, then you can launch. Like that's it. Like there's no
Yeah.
more second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to people all the time that are like, I've been thinking about doing this for 20 years. And now I'm finally going to do it. I'm like, that is awesome that you're finally taking that leap. But like whoever you are right now, like you could make the leap today. Right. And
Yes,
I
you
know
can.
that there's a lot of people listening right now that they go, well, I maybe later, like I'll do it in 6 months. I'll do it in a year. I'll do it. No, like if you have the skill now, you got to take the leap, to use your language, like time to get off the bench and just, and start with service, right? Lead with value, lead with serving other people. And if you stick to that as your foundation, we can add all the fancy stuff later.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Couldn't say it better myself.
So give us an idea of like when somebody goes through your process,
Mm-hmm.
what's an example of a breakthrough that one of your clients has experienced that maybe some of the people in the group here today can relate to?
Okay, so one of my more recent clients, she is in the kind of in the music industry, kind of sort of. Her big goal is to create this real, like super high ticket package. I'm talking about $1 million package to find wealthy patrons and commission a orchestrated piece for them, but not just create music for them, but a whole experience. So rent out the orchestra hall, get the live orchestra to play the pieces, you know, bring in like if they the patron wanted like a giant movie screen to play images of their life or a movie or whatever it is, right? Like sky's the limit. And so she's been thinking about doing this for 14, 15 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, what stopped you? She's like, well, after I went to college, you know, I studied music. I don't know if she went to Berkeley School of Music or not. Went to a music school. And well, her inner bench warmer pretty much got the best of herself. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I heard there's no money in music and this and that. So she learned how to do like web programming and web design and stuff like that and made some good money doing that. And because of that, it's like, well, I'm making good money now. I'll get to the music soon. And then fast forward 14 years, still like, I'll get to the music soon. But now she started to get depressed because that inner vision and that dream is not being fulfilled. So with her, it was tough because she didn't think because she hadn't bagged that $1 million client that she couldn't do it. I'm like, well, have you made any music before? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, have you done? Well, I did this piece for some video games and one for a small film. I'm like, wait, what? So you've done stuff and you've gotten paid for it. I'm like, yeah, but you're afraid to call yourself a composer? And she's like, huh. So I'm like, so at one point, do you become a composer if you've been paid to make music for somebody, right? Like, yeah, you may not have made that $1 million client yet, but just because you haven't done that doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. And it after that, it hurts. She's like, oh my God. She realized how much time she wasted over her own like inner like head trash.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, I mean, that was the biggest example there. And then because of that, boom, she hit the ground running. And it was small steps. Okay, start to integrate yourself with the music crowd in your area. Go back to your former college, wherever it is, to just get back into things. You're not going to find clients there, but it's just to get you back in the swing of things. Join like the Philharmonic in your area. And that actually led to some leads. Unfortunately, our time together stopped when a lead came, and then she kind of froze up when it was time to close the deal. But, you know, that's the story for another time. But it got her to a point where she could have been doing exactly what she wanted to do but she let that bench warmer come back into her life. I didn't find out about this until much later. I don't leave my people hanging. It's just, she didn't tell me and got embarrassed. And anyways, but the point is realizing that you can do what you're set to do. Because most people don't be like, you know what? I've been a homemaker my whole life, but now I want to be an astronaut. Usually doesn't work that way. Usually it's something they've done before, they have interest in. And even if that homemaker wants to become that astronaut, I'm sure they've been training in their own to actually help them because they feel that the dream could happen at some point, and now, or maybe they've been studying on their own or whatever they need to do. And it's realizing those things that you've done before, and then learning how to, I guess, see it in a different light to help you. Like, I can do this. I can make this happen. I don't have to, I don't have to be the $1 million client person to say that I do this for people who are going to pay me $1 million.
Right. It's like, if you've written music, you're a composer. If you've published a book, you're a published author.
Right.
If you've coached someone, you're a coach. Like,
right.
It's most often it's the things that we are already actively doing that we tend to downplay simply because to us, it's business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who hasn't gone through that experience, who wants to learn, who needs a mentor, who needs a coach, we can add immense value to their life and to their experience depending on what that person needs. And no matter where you're at in the process as a coach, there is going to be somebody who is not quite as far along as you that you can serve and mentor and help them take those steps that they need to get there.
That's right. You only got to be one lesson ahead.
Yeah.
There's one lesson ahead.
Yeah. And that oftentimes that's what people need the most. They don't necessarily need the super expert or guru who's like 20 years ahead of them, because that can be overwhelming. It's like, and sometimes that expert forgot what it's like to be a beginner, What I find is most people need someone, as a coach anyway, who's just a little bit ahead of them, because they can help them see just the next step that's in front of them, which is that's the step we all have to take anyway, right? Like, just
100%.
one that's right there.
100%.
Okay. So we're running out of time here today, but what I wanted to do was, if any of the listeners today want to get in touch with you, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with you? And then also to get a hold of your book. So I guess 2 questions.
The book is on Amazon. It is called Get Off the Bench. I have it in paperback, PDF, and audio book. I did the narration myself. Don't judge me. Yeah, you'll know the book because it has my picture on it. Boom, Get Off the Bench. There it is.
There we go. Okay.
There it is.
So, and we'll put a link. We'll put a link to the Amazon.
Yeah, I can definitely get you guys a link. It's been there for a while. If you like the book, review it. If you hate the book, review it. It helps me get better. That's the beautiful thing about Amazon, especially the Kindle version. I can easily update it. So, as long as it's helping people out, I'm happy. But if you want to speak to me, book a call. Book a call. It's free. I'm not trying to charge any money. We can talk about what's going on with you and your business. And, if you want to talk to me about stuff, that's great. It's your call. I don't care what you do with it. Yeah, there's we can get you guys a link as well.
I got the link here, so I'll put that in the comments. And then when we upload this to the Experts Online archive, I'll make these links available there as well. So when people go back to watch the recording, they will still have access to that book call with you.
Okay. And here's a link to the Amazon book.
Okay, great. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, Shai put it there too. She found it before.
Nice.
That's great. Okay, so we know she's going to get the book for sure. Awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me know what you think of it.
And then just kind of, I'll as always, I'll give you the last word. For anyone who's maybe new to the online space, maybe new to the coaching realm, what thought or principle do you want to leave them with today that would just maybe inspire, encourage, or motivate them?
That's a good question. Okay, here's a quote by Neil Gaiman. You're alive. That means you have infinite potential. You can do anything, make anything, dream anything.
Mm.
I think that was good. And one more by Zig Ziglar that will kind of piggyback on what you said earlier. Motivation doesn't last, but neither does bathing. That's why I recommend it every day.
Right. That's awesome. Oh, like I'll just echo that. Man, mindset. You never don't need it. if that's
Right.
that makes sense. Okay. Well, hey, Victor, thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to just add value to our experience. And I'm looking forward to getting you connected with some of the people in the group. So anyone who's watching, if you have questions, feel free to just post in the group, tag Victor if you want to. I know he's got a pretty packed out schedule, but he always responds directly to you.
100.
So shoot him a message, question, or even just like a comment or whatever. Let him know what you thought about today's session. So, all right, thanks everyone so much. Victor, you and I can jam for a couple minutes after I end the live. Otherwise, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll be back all this week with more awesome coaching sessions.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys listening.